All right, so I am nearly done. Remember, you can always hit Command 0 to fit it all on the screen. And I'm just checking kind of the smoothness of my curves here. Command plus. And there's just a few places where they're tripping me up a little bit. This is one of them, right? Just this little blip here. So if I double click, I can see where the anchor point is. And I can move it, but you see those curves coming out of each side. If I click it, it's because I have a straight on this side and a curve on this side. So I can adjust the curve, but as soon as I do that, it pulls out a handle on both sides. That's actually a good thing, because then I can hold down Command and I can control that handle. But that's what's giving me trouble. So one way to fix this is to just double click it and turn it to a straight, right? And then realize that I need to fix this curve on this other side. So this is what happens when you have curves on both sides of your anchor point and they're not sympathetic curves. You can get those little bumps. And it can be really frustrating. So if I click here, weird. Why can't I see the curves? So one way to fix it is, oh no, it's this one. That makes sense. Okay, so it's this curve that I need to adjust. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Command and just take it off of this side. So I can set that curve with this anchor point. So what you don't want is to have handles going into two sides. So if I turn this into a curve now on both sides, that's actually a good thing, because then I can control it and smooth it to where I want. And I can even move it. And if I want to control one side versus the other, I can hold down Command and do that. Like that. So that I don't have the same kind of bump that I had before. Okay, now I need to do the head. Now I've already have the eye. I've got that shape. And I'm going to actually color it with neon green instead of white. I'll show why in just a minute. But I have to also create a head shape. So what am I going to do? I'm going to use the pen. I'm going to try to set a curve. I thought that would work, but I tried to go a little too far, so I'm going to split it. You can see why a lot of logos use simple shapes, because it makes all of this a lot simpler. But we want full control. Okay, now I want this to line up with that, and now I still need to complete it. I can't leave it as an empty path, so I have to end where I began. Okay, now I'm going to fill that. I'm going to fill it with black and turn off the stroke. And the reason I get that little spike is because of the sympathetic curve. Oh, I didn't close it. Okay, now I've closed it. Let's change that to black. Good. Okay, now I need to put this one, or I need to put my eye layer, right, this one, clearly on top of it. And this is a glitch that is starting to happen. So I had to move it all the way to the top. So I now have this shape and I have this shape. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the green shape out of the black shape. To do that, I hold down Shift and I click each one. And when they're both selected, I'm going to get these additional options. These are to either merge them, and if I merge them, then it's like that green eye doesn't exist. It would all be black. But if I minus them or subtract them, the one that's on top is going to get cut out of the one from underneath, like a cookie cutter. So that's what I need to do. And that now cuts a hole in it, so I have one shape now that has that eye cut out. Now, same thing. I need to hold down Shift and grab this and grab the body. And then I'm going to merge them together so that now this is all one shape. Make sense? Yeah, I'll come and work with it. It can be tricky for different scenarios. So what is my vector? My vector is 3 paths. It is this path, it is this path, and it is this path. Everything else, every other path, like the different eyes I demoed, I can just select and delete. The oval eye I did, I can just select and delete. And then my sketch underneath, I can actually unlock that and delete it so that I have the cleanest memory possible for my finished design. Now, Vectr.com is going to remember this. On my home screen, it is this. What's funny is, on my home screen, the one I just finished off looks totally black. Why is that? Because it's just black shapes on a black background. Does that make sense? So, I actually want to make, well, just remember that's the final one, and I can title it. So I thought I titled it when I started it, and I did, but I'm going to title it here as well. So Karl, assignment 4, afternoon, black vector. And you can kind of see it, you just can't see it on the projector. On my computer screen, I can see it's like a dark grid showing empty space and then the black one. Okay, now I'm going to open it. And once you're done with your black shapes, and I know you're not there yet, but that's the goal for today, you are going to click on Export. Now, it used to be that we could export it as an SVG, but now you have to pay for that. You have to be a premium member. So all we can do is download it for free as a JPEG. But here's the kicker. This has all of the advantages of a vector because we can output it as a JPEG at any resolution we can imagine. Does that make sense? Because we made it as a vector. So its default is 800 by 800, what I set it up for. But what I want to do is I'm actually going to change this to, what's a good size? Let's do like 10 inches at 300 pixels per inch is 3,000 pixels, right? So let's do 3,000 by 3,000. And then say download. We're not going to print out of a website, right? So now I've downloaded it. Where did it download? It downloaded to my downloads folder as a JPEG. And that's the only option it gave me. Is a JPEG a vector file? No, it is not. But this is a very high quality pixel file, right? That was outputted from my vector. This is where I'm going to lose you, which is why I'm recording it. This does not work for being a vector because it's not a vector. So what we're going to use is professional software, which is Adobe Illustrator, to turn this back into a vector file where we can actually save it as a vector. You with me? Okay. Because part of your skill is knowing how to save vector files and how to use them with raster files. So I'm going to minimize my browser. I'm going to put that JPEG from my downloads. Where did I put it? Into my folder. Where did it go? All right, I'm going to output it again out of my vector.com file at 3000 by 3000, download it, goes to my downloads folder. I'm going to minimize this for the time being. I'm going to open up my folder. Here it is for assignment 4. Go to downloads, take that JPEG, move it in. Okay, I mark this not with orange. This does not go to Canvas. I mark this with purple, and I'm going to rename it. This is what I call a test file. It's in transition to get us what we want, which is a vector file. Now I'm going to right-click on that test transition file, which is a whole lot cleaner than my refined sketch. Do you agree? Right? That's the advantage of using vectors. And it's a much higher resolution too. It's now 3000 by 3000 pixels. But I am going to open this clean one, this test one, with Adobe Illustrator. And it opens right away. Now, this is not a vector. But Illustrator can turn it into a vector for us. It is just an image file, right? But if I click on it, it gets highlighted, just like it did in Vectr.com. And then I go to Properties. And this is where Illustrator has like the stroke and the fill. But it also has some other tools which are incredibly useful. And we're going to use the Image Trace tool. This is what's called vectorizing, turning raster images into vectors. I click on Image Trace. It gives me a bunch of options. The best option is black and white logo. That's the only one I'm ever going to teach you. Okay? But that is not the best option because we are not making a black and white logo. We are making a black shape logo. So when it says black and white, we don't hit expand yet. We click on the advanced options. We go to advanced, and then we say ignore the color. What's the color in a black and white logo? It's the white background. I ignore the color. Doesn't look any different to you, but now what I do is I hit expand, and now that turned it into a vector. All I have to do is use the small selection tool to see the anchor points. That has no white in it at all. Exactly like what I did in Vectr.com. It's got the same anchor points in the same places. But now I can save it as a vector file. And the vector file we want is actually an SVG file, which is a scalable vector graphic if we use it with Photopea. Let's save that. And then we want to save it as a second type of transitional vector file, which is an EPS, because that's what Adobe uses. So File, Save As, save on your computer, an Illustrator EPS file, EPS. Save. These are all transitions. None of these will go to Canvas, but these are our vector files. Okay, now I can close Illustrator. Notice I never saved it as an Illustrator file. Instead, I'll put these in gray. I have a test transition SVG, and I have a test transition EPS. Notice that the EPS doesn't even give me a file preview. If Photopea is working, the SVG is what we use with that. So let's try to open Photopea. It was just working. You guys saw? So frustrating. All right? And if it's not working and we have to use Photoshop, which I feel like it's only me at this point, Photopea is not working for. But if I open up Photoshop, what I'm going to do is create a new file. This is the same thing I would do in Photopea. This is raster, right? You're going to put your name. You're going to put your assignment description. This is a black shape logo.